Hi, Jen.
Hi, Zanna.
Hi, everybody. We're the Cup and Sussy Book Club.
And I assigned Zanna something to read last time. So what did I give you to read?
Last time you gave me the book The Devil Made Me Brew It by Sarah Piper.
And this one was narrated in duet by Shane East and Samantha Brentmoor. What did you think?
I actually really liked this book. It was so much fun. It was really cute. It was Adora Diabolical.
Adora Diabolical.
Yeah.
I love when we coin new phrases on this
right.
show.
Yeah. So the female main character is Violet Pepperdine, and she is a witch, but she is a tea witch, which falls right in line with our
I
joys.
had to give you a tea witch, right?
I know. I mean, she was great. So her special power is that she can brew teas that will be exactly what people need, and so she uses her powers to help other people, and by sort of she's an empathic witch who can sort of sense people's overall feelings, not necessarily specific, not mind reading, but feeling kind of the thing that they really need. And then she brews them something that is exactly what they need to feel better. Whether it's a sickness or whether that's a heartache or whether that's
wish fulfillment,
fulfillment, whatever it is. So she's there for that. Well, so she is in pretty bad financial straits, and this apparently, it's not terribly profitable to help other people, at least not in this scenario, and so she's in danger of losing her shop, and she's in danger of losing everything, and so she one night drunkenly she tries to summon so she's using spreadsheet magic, which is another one of those amazing things, right? So she's got these
that was an extra special touch.
Right, an extra special touch of spreadsheet magic. And so she ends up trying to summon something that will help her to fulfill her heart's desire, basically. Right. So, and in doing this, she kind of accidentally, but maybe not, in fact, accidentally summons the devil. And the actual devil, Lucifer. But he doesn't go by Lucifer these days. Although, his whole setup is, if you've ever seen the show Lucifer, the TV show Lucifer, he's got strong Lucifer vibes. He kind of, in my mind, he looks like Tom Ellis, and he
exactly. This book was actually sold to me as Practical Magic meets Lucifer.
Right. Yeah, and I've seen that in the sort of in the ads for this. It sort of feels like Lucifer coffee shop fan fiction, although it's tea shop, but it's really well written. It's enjoyable. So it's like, and not to say that there's a lot of really, really amazingly written fanfic, but it's got that sort of Lucifer in a tea shop kind of vibes to it, and with a strong dose of Hallmark Channel. And
there is you can kind of hear.
In fact, the
Good Witch. The Good
Witch.
And
they even bring up kind of, the Hallmark Channel thing in the book a good bit. That the town of a Wayward Bay, which is where they live, is essentially a Hallmark town. So
Pumpkinville or something.
The Lucifer analog, his name is Devlin Pierce. Although Devil and Pierce, right? Yeah. Devlin. And so Devlin calls it Pumpkinville, basically. because this is all
where it's
very
like perpetually 2
right
days before Halloween, and
well, and it's it's fall when this happens. I guess it's October when this is all happening, and the pumpkin spice is strong.
yes.
This pumpkin spice must flow. It's but so there's other witches in town. And in fact, you've done it again and assigned me the first of a series instead of a standalone book, but that's okay because I like the book enough that I'll probably read the next one. I've kind of got an idea of who's going to be the main characters for the next one. They do kind of hint at it a bit, and but that's good. I mean, that sort of is like it that. They give enough detail that you want to know more about these characters,
but it is a standalone.
It is. Oh yeah, absolutely, it's a standalone.
It's just
it's an HEA
in the same world. Yeah,
it's an HEA standalone, and so the spell that summons Devlin also binds him to Violet, the main character.
Physically binds her. They can be
like they can only be a certain distance from each other, or else they get snapped back together, and
and it makes them it's physically painful for them to be separated.
Right.
So
and so it's kind of hard to say whether. I mean, they definitely have lust at first sight.
Right.
And even though, so Violet is very cutesy. In fact, Devlin calls her Mushroom.
Yes.
Because she wears this mushroom t-shirt. That's her favorite. She wears all these very kitschy, t-shirts.
It's magical. Her kind of magic is not sexy witch. It's more like cutesy fairy,
cozy witch,
woodland creature magic.
Right.
Think of all think of Snow White, but she doesn't actually talk to animals. And they don't do stuff for her. But
right.
But she's surrounded by sort of Disney animation everywhere she goes. This is how I see it.
Exactly. and Devlin is he's used to the sexy kind of he much like the TV show Lucifer. He runs a nightclub in a sort of thing, not really a nightclub, but he does these parties.
He does these sex parties and but he's kind of also caught in the point of being jaded by the jaded. So I mean, the whole point of the parties is to try to get souls. So he's trying to get back to his rightful place as the king of hell, but he's been sort of exiled from doing that, and he's got to collect so many souls by a certain time, and that time is coming close and very soon.
And he's done a good job of getting the souls. They thought it was an impossible task, but he's definitely since he became an influencer, it became a lot easier. So
he's a social media influencer.
He's a social media influencer, right?
And one of the reasons that he states that he does these parties is because he sort of gets the ones who were going to hell anyway,
right?
But they willingly sign they're more willing to sign the contract,
right? So if he can get them to sign the contract, then he gets the credit for it. And so it's like he's he's the devil. He's supposed to be the evil incarnate, but he's actually more like a more vigilante, I guess, in that respect.
It's almost Hades-esque rather than the devil of Dante's Divine Comedy or something, or the Inferno. It's kind of more like Hades
I'm Lord of the Underworld, but underworld means everybody who's dead. That doesn't necessarily mean good or bad.
Right.
But he knows that the people who go to hell are there for the reasons that they are, and they're, if you're going to heaven, you're not seeing him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also in the show Lucifer, they the people who are in hell are cycling through loops of guilt about a decision that they've made or something like that, and that's why they're in hell, is because they keep cycling through the loops expecting a different outcome to the same scenario.
Yeah,
and
there's a word for that.
When they and it's only when they work through it that they can go to heaven. So this sort of thing is the same kind of it's the same kind of setup. But this one, this devil has got a timeline, and he's got to collect souls. Whereas the TV show Lucifer, that wasn't the case. It's not he's not.
And this is where it also has some
there.
And it has some sort of connections to like supernatural, which is there's more of a soul collecting thing going on.
Yeah, and Sarah Piper's drawing on a lot of paranormal pop culture here. Because it's not for the witchy side, it's practical magic, because she's got sisters, and she's got the aunts who I love the aunts. But they're all actually found family. Like the aunts themselves are related.
Right, but all of the sisters are found.
All of the sisters are found, and I love that twist on it.
Right, and Violet was sort of brought up in the foster system, and so she and Devlin have something in common, basically, in that they have not had a lot of before she found her sisters. She didn't have a lot of trust or love, and she came to that when she found her aunts and her sisters. But and Devlin, being the devil, has always been trying to impress his dad, God, but it never works. And so they're both kind of feeling this inadequacy of just wanting to be loved.
And because of that, she's not asking for help from the people that she could be asking. Like, she could have asked her sisters,
and they would have 100% been there for her.
Right. But she thinks that in order to get their help, she has to admit to failure, and then comes judgment for that failure.
And then comes rejection.
And it becomes rejection. So...
And that same sort of feeling of failure leading to rejection is something that Devlin and Violet have in common.
Yeah. And they come together. Yeah, there's definitely insta-lust. It is forced proximity if they're having.
It is.
If they can only be.
So
very definition of that word too.
It takes a while for them to get like intimate, but they pretty quickly get somewhat spicy just because of Mr. Wiggles, who is a possessed vibrator, and the funniest no notes. I mean, the funniest part in the entire book has to do with Mr. Wiggles, and it doesn't have to do with a sexy time.
No, but I don't
want to spoil it. But it's like when this was happening.
All we have to say is possessed vibrator. I mean, that alone should get everybody to listen to
But it was the possessed vibrator accidentally packed into the purse.
Yeah.
That just was the funniest thing. Yeah.
The little extra bit here on the audio. Now, normally...
normally I don't...
I kind of go back and forth on whether or not you do soundscapes in an audiobook. I say that the narrators that especially narrators of this caliber, like Shane and Samantha, they don't need soundscapes. In this case, though, it's used so expertly.
Right.
There's just one point it happens
it happens multiple times, but it's just a single sound.
It's a single sound, and it's just used so well.
It is
well. It's
Mr. Wiggles is his own character, and it's just sublime.
Yes,
absolutely
best
sublime
way, in the best way. And there's this is done in duet, and they were done partly over Zoom, and because there are TikToks and some Instagram videos of Samantha and Shane recording this, particularly the scene where he is first summoned, and she's a lot drunk, and so
oh my god, Samantha being drunk Violet is beautiful.
Yeah. And there's a lot of little fun nuggets of scenes that on the whole
this was just a really fun book. I mean, it was not heavy in any sort of way. There is sort of a third act breakup to a point, but it's and that particular thing I have a slight quibble with, because it's like expectations for morality from the devil seem a little bit. I'm like, you do realize that you're talking to the literal devil here, so you're expecting to act in a way that is morally in line with your morals.
Yeah. and it's kind of.
And since objective morality isn't really a thing,
that one kind of tripped me up too. I was just like, for real, but also when you, I think that comes from a place of when you are in a relationship with someone where you have, where they have garnered a level of trust,
right?
That you have certain expectations of what that trust means, what trusting them means. And she, in this case, she specifically asked him not to do a thing, and he did it.
Right.
And so, yes, I mean, he's going to be, as in our interview with Bryn Weaver, she says, morally charcoal.
Yes. I love that. Especially for somebody, from
who's
the
pits
devil.
Of hell.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's expecting a lot to expect somebody who is morally charcoal to, to be the better angel here.
Right.
If I could say it that way.
I mean, it works.
It works, because the devil was an angel first. So, so that is a kind of heavy expectation to have, but but beyond that small thing, I think that it otherwise worked for what it is, which is a rom-com.
A rom-com. Yeah. No, I mean,
it
absolutely. It definitely hit the rom-com, the cozy rom-com kind of mark, and it was very enjoyable. There was no triggering kind of thing for me, and it was all just delightful. And I had to take a little bit of a break from listening to it. Like, I listened to half of it on one day, and then I had like a whole bunch of stuff to do and couldn't get to it, and I was like excited to get back to it. I mean, it's one of those ones where it was not a slog. It was definitely, oh no, it's like, oh, I get to listen to this again.
Yeah. And this is one for me that I think might actually be a repeat listen. Come Halloween.
Right.
I will be listening to this one again.
Head back to Pumpkinville.
Okay, and I gotta say, Pumpkinville is the town that the Hallmark series The Good Witch is set in. That is Pumpkinville to me. That's what I was envisioning the whole time. Yeah. Okay. And so it's it's this just small town, but yet they have everything. They have a TV station and and there's this new brew pub that's just opened, and like all of this stuff is just like, wait a minute. For the population that this town is supposed to be, how come you have all of this cool stuff?
How is this sustainable?
How is this sustainable? How are any of these businesses staying open?
Why are they not going out of and they actually they do address that, because that's like the main antagonists of the book are basically trying to turn
Remington the
third of his name. Branch Remington, the third of his name. Yeah. So, a real piece of work.
I mean, Central Casting called up for an asshole, and this is who they sent.
Right.
It's just, and he plays that part to perfection, and
he does.
But this is of course Shane East with an American accent, which always amuses the hell out of me. So
yeah, and it's mostly good. There's a couple of points where his accent was like, but that's
yeah.
His American accent's better than my British, so I can't say anything.
So, what on our cup rating scale? What do you give The Devil Made Me Brew It by Sarah Piper?
I really, 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 really liked it. It was so much fun, but I had a couple little quibbles with it, so I'm gonna go with 4.5. How about you?
I'm working with that. I'm gonna also give it 4.5. Just I had different quibbles with it, but they were again small.
Yeah.
But things like Mr. Wiggles and the use of soundscape in this was just so on point, and
yeah. I mean, that was definitely not a quibble for me.
The tea.
Oh, and the tea. Yeah. Yeah. I would love to go to that shop.
Yes. I would love to own that shop.
Well, yeah.
Well, okay, maybe not in financial perilous straits that it's in at the beginning of the book, but I would love to own that shop at the end of the book. let's I
don't want to deal with customers.
Yeah, but this is, this
for
is why
for
this
extrovert
works
you.
For
extrovert you, that works. I would no. That's just too many people in a day. No, thank you.
So how about sauce? How about saucy level?
So I would actually give it about a 3.5. It's not like the most. It's not erotica, but there are some very spicy scenes. Honestly, the intimacy scenes are where they're just not actually engaging in sex, but they're just very intimate, are spicier to me in some cases than the actual sex scenes. And so that's why
the dialogue and how they talk to each other, how they relate to each other is really saucy.
Yeah, it is very saucy. 3.5, maybe 4, but not, because it's not like straight up erotica. I would give it about a 3.5.
And then of course, 3.5. So as half of that for Mr. Wiggles.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, I feel like it's automatic half a point just for the use of sex toys.
Right.
And then you get
possessed sex
points. But then you get additional sex toys, or you get additional sex toys.
Oh. Are they also
sponsor,
possessed,
ladies and gentlemen? No, but if the use of how they use the sex toys will then increase the saucy level, because
right.
You know, just beyond, if you go beyond the instructions on the box, then
right.
And the creative ways that you can come up with to do that. So,
yeah, fair.
So I feel like that's just sort of like handicap, the golf handicap, is just like that built in. So with your next book, I am going to give you a choice, but we're going to do this a little differently, and we're going to do this blind date with a book style. So I'm going to give you some badly worded descriptions.
All right.
And I'm going to give you four books with badly worded descriptions. And you choose your next book based on the description. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So your choices are Teach Me to Chop Wood.
Uh-huh.
The Bachelor Mystery Edition.
All right.
The Wedding Planner with an Age Gap.
All right.
And My Brother's Best Friend is a Math Geek.
That last one. My brother's best friend is a math geek. Yeah.
And the reason that I did this, because I kind of figured that you would pick that last one. So the reason that I did that way was because I knew if I had just told you the title straight out, you would have just said no.
Oh no.
So the title of your next assigned book, Zanna, is The Grumpy Billionaire by Annika Martin. And this is narrated. But you hate me now, but you're gonna love me later. This is narrated by friends of the show, Angelina, Rocca, and Grayson, Owens. And so this is,
I love them. So
yeah. So The Grumpy Billionaire by Annika Martin, and we will put up on our website at Cup and Saucy Books. We'll put in.
That was clever what you did there.
Yeah.
I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a billionaire fan. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And I knew you wouldn't take it, but based on that, but I think you might actually like this one.
All right.
And so you join us, please, next month for The Grumpy Billionaire by Annika Martin, which Zanna will read and review. And this episode will be available on our YouTube channel and on TikTok on Wednesday, July 17th, 2024. And thank you so much for joining us on the Cup and Saucy Book Club.
And join us on Monday for our chat with another great guest on the Cup and Saucy Book Club podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us at Cup and Saucy Books on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. So thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye.